Okay, 4 of these minor recordings left. I still have 2 big ones that I have to do, which is selecting food and... Okay, now spoiler alert, the last one of the year, which is hard to say at the moment how much effort I shall put into this. I have been here before. I feel a bit loaded. I feel refreshed, packed with energy. That may be all the peanut butter that I ate. I mean, I still have a bit left. I bought 2 jars 2 days ago or something. I finished it all. And somehow I feel like I used the energy now to do this. Question, also looking ahead for selecting food, is certainly how much do you need to eat? What do you need to eat? When do you need to eat? And then these questions, right? What about meat? Okay, now it's simply harder. You know, every day the same? Absolutely not. Okay, I cannot do this recording now. I have to do this later. Because now I have to do 4 more short ones. So sometimes you have to take a step back and do something else first before you can progress and get rid of something, because you don't want to get rid of certain things, right? You want to maybe let them slowly fade away by themselves. But sometimes you also really need to reach out and engage. And sometimes you can take this route, or you say, hey, you know, there's also a sidetrack that I haven't taken yet, which avoids going through all this clutter. And then you realize, oh, there was also a path. And then sometimes I like to film nature, and sometimes I like to film myself. And sometimes I feel awkward, and sometimes I think I'm super awesome, right? And sometimes I'm super happy and I'm like buzzing. So often when I'm buzzing is when I just managed to finish a task. And then there's another task. But the more tasks you have accomplished, the easier it's going to be. So I have watched The Boy and the Heron, which I'm happy about. And I liked it. I mean, it was in the style of Miyazaki. What I find is that it was a bit packed. Like, he tried to put a lot of stuff in there. It was really cramped. I would say that Howl's Moving Castle was more my favorite. But also there I liked the book. Howl's Moving Castle is different in terms of storyline. I have watched The Boy and the Heron once now. I'm sure at some point I'm gonna watch it again. So the only thing I can say is there were certain things which I found he took from other movies. So, spoiler alert, possibly like that fire girl looked a bit like Princess Mononoke. when she's being consumed by the fire of otaku, yeah, what's his name? The giant forest dwelling animal. Wow, let's just look at this scene. I mean, this is the real world. This is it, not the movie. But okay, let's just focus on the movie just for a second. So there's like something like hellfire. You know, you can burn, and this burning for something makes you feel alive. But there's also this, what I would call hellfire. Like feeling like you're being burned alive. So maybe reduce coffee. Like if you feel like you're burning alive and you just feel like you just want to swim all the time, well, try hiking barefoot. I'm just saying, try it. Especially during weather like this. And reduce the coffee. Reduce the cinnamon. You need a radical dietary change. I'm just saying. But I'll talk more about that in selecting food. Yeah, I'm just gonna take the short road home because this was tough. But not tougher than other things, but simply because now time's kind of pressing. I felt like I had to finish this and I had to prioritize it, which is why I simply worked off this Instagram stuff and I just said, yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna lay low on Instagram for some time because it's not a major thing. I mean, I produce enough content that I find more meaningful, especially also in terms of quality. When I create my artworks for YouTube, they're in much better quality than if you look at it on your little phone screen on Instagram. And that's also one point where I say I don't need Instagram per se, and it's just a bit of an overload. But there is a lot of stuff, but you know, I'll do things in due time, right? I'll probably get back to making art at some point. But right now, I'm probably gonna take some time off. That was a hell of a job. And writing books is going to take some time now. And maybe making music, I have to see. And then I have to simply see what my life is going to throw at me and then continue to react to it. Because there is no guarantee. You can just assume that if you create a lot of content in advance, that at some point people are going to realize, oh wow, there's a frequent output of some sort on several channels, which is podcast, which is YouTube, and which is books, the occasional music album. I mean, that's a fair... You know, I have to laugh about this because, you know, sometimes I'm just moping and in a way I'm putting up an act, but there's always this cheeky guy, right? There's always this cheeky guy who just thinks, holy crap. I mean, even I'm astonished because I started with one podcast. Spiritual advice from a barbarian lunatic. That's how it started. And then I tried YouTube, but I deleted that again, I think. And then I wrote the Book of Fear. And my podcast kept me going all the time. And then I started with YouTube again, especially while I was in Amsterdam. And then I simply started to record. record, start sharing, but only myself. I really kept it to myself because I didn't want to involve anyone in it. Why? Because what I felt was that I knew what I was doing, why I was doing it. I had a reason, I had a message. Now, if other people would show up in my content, like videos or images, and let's say I'd be okay with the attention because I asked for it. I prepared myself also to receive attention. But let's say somebody, other people just don't know how to deal with it. It gets to their head and then they're like, ah! So you have to have a strong mind to withstand. And there's no guarantee, right? Still not. Not even, because at the point where I'm recording it, this is December 2025. But I'm now on 3rd of July or something, 2024. So this is 1.5 years into the future that you're watching this now. And that's crazy. So yeah, both my podcasts are already done. I finished them. I actually don't know. I don't remember when. When did I do all of this? Where did the time go? I mean, when did I start recording all of these videos and all of these podcast episodes? I have no idea where the time is. Seriously, man. Where is the time? What happened? Who am I going to be when all of this is over? I mean, that's a hell of a journey. It's a diary. Active suffering. Hello, yoga. That's yoga. Right? The middle in all situations, that's yoga. Which is why you usually meet a yogi sitting on some kind of, hard ground and not on a soft yoga mattress. So, whatever. I mean, I never bought a mattress. Because I knew it wasn't it. So everybody who has a mattress, you can safely push to the side. Or simply, keep on going your way. Because I never bought a mattress. Because for me, it was from the beginning obvious that that's not it. It's just a gimmick. It's just a body fetish thing. These people have always existed. As long as they had a word for yoga, there were people that were just trying to imitate it. Right? It's just something else. It's like you go on Instagram and then there's a suggested post, because I don't actually look at other people's content. And then there's always these wild nomads. I have, 52 tattoos, earrings and nose rings and loopy things and dreadlocks and, half shaved, the rest dreadlocks, and then red dyed dreadlocks. They're more about how they look like than how they feel like. Because how they feel like is, I'm not enough. I need more tattoos. I mean, I get it. I have something like a tattoo project. But for me, a tattoo is a scar. That's something I have to earn. And that to me is part of my path as a warrior. But to just plaster yourself with tattoos because you think it's gonna do something for you, no. You have to literally earn your tattoos. I have earned my tattoos. That's how I feel like. But I'm gonna look into traditional tattoo methods. Certainly none of these machines anymore. But then you also should kind of, that's now the question. Should or should you not? I have had this idea for a long time, and I feel like it's building up. It's building up. And when it comes to the point, I'm probably gonna make a snap judgment. I'm just gonna say, yeah, just do it. Because I have felt it. There was something on my left arm where I felt like something's missing, but I cannot do this myself. And I only know one woman that could do that for me. And that's a fact. And maybe, you know, now you can ask yourself, do you give too much credit? Or what do I know? Okay, now I'm being drawn into my emotional dilemma again, which always happens. No matter how hard I try, at the end I always get back to her. Okay, so The Boy and the Heron, I liked it, but it was a bit too cramped. In certain ways, I really liked the heron until there was this guy underneath. I liked the heron until this person popped out of it. Until that point, I really liked the heron. And I felt it kind of ruined it for me, the movie, and that it would have been nicer if he had kept the heron a bit mystical, a bit dark and gloomy. That's what I feel. Also realizing, because I'm just walking past a shepherd, that shepherds used to have a very different job. They really had to also protect the herd, but now there's not really any wolves anymore, so there's not much you have to actually do. But a shepherd is, in a way, also like a sentinel. He has to be present. Whether he could express this with words, what he's doing, hard to say. But also, if you are like the sentinel and you've got dogs, I mean, you can send dogs, you can send people out and draw them in. I mean, this is all part of the mind stuff. Not everyone is always the sentinel. Usually one alpha in a pack. And if you want to be an alpha, you either have to challenge the ruling alpha at the moment, or you have to create your own pack. Right? That's how it is. So, okay, The Boy and the Heron, just to finalize it, I liked it, but I mean, it was according to his style. That I can safely say is true. It was according to his style, but it could have been a bit more mature. Why? Because, I mean, he has grown older. You feel like it could have been a bit more mature. But maybe that's how it is. I mean, as an artist, I like to change. And I also like to not overly identify myself with being an artist. So the idea is that you can, I mean, do I only see faces everywhere? I always see three things together, and sometimes it's smiley faces and sometimes it's like whiny faces. Depending on something, I always see faces everywhere, especially on the ground when I'm checking. You know, everything always falls together into threes. You know, even poop, poop pellets, but more so like branches and stones and stuff, or leaves. You go and then you see always three faces everywhere. That's clearly something about consciousness, seeing faces in things. So what were the images, the imagery? Maybe I have to watch the movie again. you know, just to talk yourself into it. Oh yeah, I could do that again. Yeah. But what was the imagery? Well, there were many concepts. It was again diving into the spiritual world, of course. It was more shamanic. The heron to me is this is why it's weird, right? I don't know, he kind of speaks to me. Sometimes I feel like my life is only for me. You know what I'm saying, right? That to me the heron is a very powerful companion that has accompanied me already for quite some time. And then he makes a movie, The Boy and the Heron, and you think, I mean, does this happen more often? To have like a spirit guide, like a heron? I had that more often. I mean, I felt like when I was looking for my spirit animal, to me it's a heron. Can I share this information? Hard to say. But that is one of the most distinguishing things in my life. So, and then comes the movie The Boy and the Heron, and you think, is he making this movie for me? No, who's gonna watch it but myself? I mean, this video. You know, I'm recording this. But if my life only, you know, if I'm the center point of life for myself, then what are you then who's watching this? You know, I have no concept for anything that is outside of myself. I don't really know. Everything, all the choices I make in relation to myself and my vision and my goal. You see what I'm saying, right? Which is why I do not know who you are in this world that has so many layers and facets. If we'd have grown up in the same tribe and I'd have known you all my life, you know, okay. But otherwise, who are you? You know, where do your parents go when you don't see them? You see what I'm saying, right? You know, sometimes I call someone, I think I don't know who you are actually. I feel like, you know, if I'm talking through spirit, then who have I been calling? I mean, if I can travel through the underworld, then what do phone calls do there? For who am I recording this? Who's going to watch this? Just myself? I don't know, man. It's just so weird. I'm a nomad. I don't know, man. I'm a nomad. Okay, The Boy and the Heron. Yet something with the underworld, I don't know. It just seems a bit like more of the same. You know, I'm still alive, so I'm just gonna do this. What I liked about my neighbors, the Yamadas, was that it was a bit different. Princess Kaguya, also a bit different. Now this was a bit more of the same. I felt like he could have made it a bit more mature. Too many characters, I felt like I have seen them already in a different version. But I liked it. The boy character, forgot his name. The whole idea of meeting your mother as a young girl again. You know, but it also sparks a lot of fears in me. Because I have met a woman that you could say maybe actually not at all like my mother. But in certain ways you could say, you know, sometimes I see at least some similarities. But then you think, you know, is this all a dream? Have I just been making this up? What is really real? And then I simply keep on walking. And that's what's the easiest solution for me. I stick to the people I have met in that sense, right? I have a name for a woman and I say that's her. and I'm never gonna replace her, and that's a gamble. But you may also live it by yourself. There are people who simply follow their shamanism. They practice their abilities, hone their skills, and then they simply keep on going. And I try to stay out of harm's way as much as I can. Everyone who tried to pick a fight with me ended up standing there alone. Anyone I found who was hostile towards me, so when my feeling was telling me, you know, you should stop going there, I stopped going there. And sometimes I wanted to go somewhere, and then a voice came and said, you know, don't do it. Go back. And I listened to it. In certain scenarios, I listened to it. But why or how? I don't know. You have to have both eyes on whatever you perceive. But my ears can certainly hear things that are happening elsewhere. And in my mind, I can wander to different places. Against somebody who doesn't have their dog in check. Just gonna break off the recording.